Hi everyone, welcome back to the studio. My name's Kaylee and I paint wet on wet landscape oil paintings. We're here for Tutorial Tuesday. I'm going to show you a step-by-step oil painting process that we're going to do in a single sitting. As far as prepping, we have prepped the canvas with a thin even coat of liquid white, and that's it. I have all of my paints on my palette here below. You'll see it in the paint list, and let's jump right into it. To start off, I'm going to pick up my 2-inch brush and go right into the Phthalo Blue. I'm going to tap into a good amount of that, and we'll come down here and just even it out, kind of distribute it nicely. I hope this new piece in my easel works out as far as my palette and getting it in camera for you. Oh, I forgot to show you. I did make a little sketch. Let's just hop into that. I'll show you. I get kind of embarrassed and don't like to show them because they kind of look like, I don't know, little kid drawings. But there you go. Now you see what I'm looking at every time I'm looking off screen. I usually just keep it up over here so that I can reference it. So anyway, when you guys are asking, I'm referencing my little sketches. Let's get on with, what are we on? 21, tutorial number 21. Oh my gosh, I'm so surprised. I just wasn't sure how this would all go and if I'd be able to continue to come up with some fun ideas for paintings. Which, I mean, I paint like 3 times a week already, so it's not terribly challenging, but I do want it to be entertaining and then also like kind of fun for me and do some places that I want to go or that I haven't been to. This desert seems like a pretty dry place, but oddly enough, it's really beautiful. So I'm just creating some cloud movements in the sky, kind of down towards the horizon. We get a little flat. And I'll just get the rest of this Phthalo Blue off my brush. And we're going to need it down below anyway, so we'll just put it in. Oh, about there. Now I'm going to pick up the blending brush, just a clean 2-inch brush, which I have plenty of. And we'll just start blending this. I want to keep some of these lines, but not all of them. So we'll start in kind of the lighter areas and just blend out. Really softening where we're going to have some clouds. You can kind of get a little swirling. We'll mix some more colors into these clouds later, but already we're getting a pretty nice effect. Let's do this one before we get too much blue on our brush. Now, just soften all the rest to your heart's content. I've been trying to include more information that's, you know, helpful for you to paint. But I paint a lot and I really enjoy it. I like to get into the studio and have time out here and just kind of, I don't know, spend lots of time out here. And you know, it's a really enjoyable process, and now being able to share it with you all is a pretty special thing. So thanks for all of you for being here. I really appreciate it. I'm just blending the sky a little bit more. We're going to keep a lot of this movement up here, but we'll work on that. Just get some of those brush strokes out. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of Midnight Black and then some more Phthalo Blue. Just mix that on the brush. And I think we will just take some of this paint and just darken up this edge just a touch. And this one, just a tiny bit. Really nice. Now I'm going to, let's see what we're gonna do here. Let's put in some clouds first. We'll mix up a little bit of, let's see. Actually, first things first. I want to do just a tiny bit of a different color down at the horizon. So we'll go into the Phthalo Green and a touch of Alizarin Crimson and grab some titanium white. Looking for a light gray kind of a mixture. Blue gray. If you have more Phthalo Green, it'll be more on the green side. A little bit more crimson, and it'll be more of the gray. Let's just gray that down just a touch more. And some more white. Just gonna get rid of some of it. I know I have too much, so I'm getting rid of some. And then let's work it up into the horizon over here. And just move across nice and light. Just kind of graying it out around the horizon down here. And we'll just go ahead and work some of that in. And just soften these two areas. Just bring it all together. Now we'll put in some clouds. Got something in my eye. Think you got it. Okay. Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo Green, and titanium white. We'll mix that on the brush. We're looking for a gray. That was so much crimson. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, now that we made this super dark, let's wipe all of that paint off because I used way too much. And I'm going to pick up some titanium white over here and just start a new pile of titanium white and grab some gray. So, got a little carried away there, but we can fix it just like that. Now I'm going to take this fan brush by starting in kind of where the brighter areas or where I know I'm going to add more of the titanium white later. I'm just going to work in some dark. And we'll put this in first, kind of to give it some good movement. I usually just wiggle the brush around and let it all happen however it really wants, and you know, we'll go in and blend it later. And I'm just working with the fan brush, kind of using that same combination of colors, allowing the fan brush to pick up some of that blue as we move further away. We can see that the color changes too. A few more little clouds. Kind of working in this orientation where they're building, getting higher and higher above you as they move closer and closer, but down here they're further. So further away, they're going to get flatter and they're going to kind of trail into and towards the horizon. Now we'll just use a little bit of these colors, kind of a little darker than what we were using up top. And I just want to put in some kind of color down at the horizon, and we'll blend some more of this. I'll pick up a blending brush. Hopefully it's sort of clean. I'm throwing stuff in the trash and on the ground. Let's just organize here. Okay. Blending brush. Pretty dirty. I did pick up some of that extra paint, but we can fix it. All that I'm going to use while I'm painting is, my homemade brush wash, which is what I use all the time when I clean my brushes. I don't even buy paint thinner anymore. So I do like to try and keep the brushes going for as long as I can throughout the painting, just so I can avoid having to clean it. So we wipe them off on a rag, which you will end up going through more of. It's just one of the trade-offs, so you can donate or have friends donate some t-shirts. They work pretty well. The blue shop towels work really well, and then these are just some other really highly absorbent towels. They work really great. I'm just softening all of this out. We're going to put on the highlight to these clouds. This is kind of just some of the background color, which turned to be quite a lot more pink than I was anticipating, but that's okay. It was going to be a bright scene already, and now it's just that much brighter. I'm just softening and kind of giving these clouds little spins and a little bit of movement. These ones will just tap. The one thing that I have to do with this easel is tighten up the back before I use it so that it doesn't like wobble around, but it doesn't really do it too much. It just kind of makes more of a noise. So I tried to make it stop, but I don't think you even noticed. But if you did, now it's done. I fixed it. Okay, let's just soften these now all the way across and get that nice and smooth. And then we will lift our clouds and go across them. And now we're going to highlight them. So we'll pick up the fan brush, which we made a little bit dirty. So we'll clean that out. We might need, a little bit of liquid white. Let's grab that. A little bit of liquid white. I'm just going to put it out on the palette there. And then we're getting into, this is just pure white, and then we'll grab a touch of bright red. A nice bright highlight color. Kind of a medium texture. We're thinning it down with liquid white, but we don't want it to be just really, really runny. We want it just medium texture, so it's a little bit thinner than what we have up here. Now the sun is going to be from the left-hand side, so we're going to highlight some of the top edges of these clouds. Starting with what's furthest away, that way we can layer on top. We'll just work a few little highlights, which we will soften back out. I'm just tapping. This paint is thinner than what we were just using, so it's sticking to the canvas. So if you're having trouble getting the paint to stick, then thin it just a tiny bit by using the liquid white. I wanted to try and emphasize in this painting as many times as I could when I'm using my brush wash, as opposed to an instance where you might be using a little bit of paint thinner. But I still haven't even used it because we're starting with these really thick paints. So by starting with the thick paints, we're able to work with the other paints and thin them down with the liquid white, even the liquid clear, and we have liquid black. So we don't even need to use the brush wash, for instance, because it's just not necessary with the other tools that we have. So really allowing the paint to work for you is going to be your best friend if you're going to try and use this wet on wet approach. I keep wanting to say wet on wet. Wet on wet. Goodness. Sorry. But if you wanted to use this approach for painting, the reason I do it is because I just I don't want to sit around and wait for the painting to dry. I don't have very long waiting period. Like, I'm just going to put the project down and stop doing it. But for this, I can sit down, get the whole painting done, get the idea out of my mind, and like I said, move on with the rest of your day. Whatever that might be, cooking dinner for your family or going back to work, whatever it is. So I'm just showing you a few ways to layer the paint to get the effect. We're just putting the highlights on this left kind of top side using thick titanium white, very thick bright red, and then just a touch of liquid white. It just thins it down and it makes it just a little bit thinner than the paint that you have on the canvas. I'll do a touch more. I just want this bit up here, a little sparkle, and then I kind of want to put in just a few more, like just little puffs of clouds, just because sometimes they're there and they're really fun. Look at how cute those are. Just some little fluffy, like, bloops. And we'll give them some friends. I like it. One more right there. Nice. And over there and stuff. Okay, too much. Let's stop. Now we're going to just wipe off. I just got some of the excess paint off of the fan brush, and then I'm going to set that aside so that it doesn't fall, which likes to happen. Just wiped out the same 2-inch brush that I've been using. We'll see if it pulls around some blue. Doesn't look like it. I'm just starting in some of the lighter areas where I have a lot of the light colored paint, and we are blending it backwards. So we don't want to touch the top edge quite so much. You can here and there. You want to really keep that as bright as possible. So we're just blending the colors underneath it with just a few bristles on the brush. You're just kind of grabbing it and pulling it. And I'm swirling it like this way. Sometimes I do it the other way. Right now that seems to be what I'm doing, and then every now and then I kind of swirl it back the other direction because you don't want them like all to be the same, but there's areas where it seems more effective, like this one. I feel like it wants to spin up, and then down here it's spinning down and pulling it down this way. But I spend a lot of time outside. I like to look at clouds. You know, it's something that's really important when you're actually spending time outside. If you're out hiking, which I like to do, and a little bit of adventuring, being able to look at the clouds and kind of see what they're doing and what they might be doing or what they're getting ready to do. Really important. So I like clouds. I like to look at them. I think a lot of outdoor people will say the same thing. Not like I can name them all, but I can definitely tell you that it might rain if you're up in the mountains and it's the middle of the day in the middle of summer. It's almost guaranteed. But that's not where we are. We are in the desert, so it's not really raining. These are just moisture clouds from the ocean kind of building as it comes into land. Maybe. Probably. I think for this desert, this is like one of the drier deserts, or most dry desert. Rains like never. But I'll let you know what I find out more in the comments below, because I'm sure I'll want to read more. I just found the kind of colors of the desert to be a little bit appealing today, so I was really wanting to work with the blue and gold. So we now have the blue. We'll do a little bit more with the blue before we go in and work with some more of our reds. I'm just tapping out those little clouds up there because I thought they looked cute like that. And you can leave them in, you can take them out, you can not put any clouds in. You could paint a forest for all. Send it to my email and let me know how you liked it. I just want to show you some fun ways to layer the paint. If you're looking for some fun clouds, this is definitely a really fun way to put in some clouds, and then do some foothills out here, maybe a little stream. So you can really work with this in a few different ways. Just keep in mind these clouds, the way that they're shaped, and maybe the way that the wind's blowing. So I'm just going to soften up a few more of these to make sure that they're mostly the way I like it. Give them another lift up here, and we're going to pull out the bottom of those just like that. Now I'm going to blend this lower area, and we're going to start adding in some water. There we go. All right, I'm going to move on to the horizon line for our water here. And if you want to do more in the clouds, you definitely should. I just wanted to leave it kind of a simple sky. And the foreground will do a little bit more of the speaking. To get us going, I'm just going to use a really small brush. I got some Phthalo Blue, I want some Phthalo Green, just a touch of Dyke Brown, and some Midnight Black. Mix that all on the brush. Let's pick up some Alizarin Crimson as well. This should make us a nice dark color. And I'm going to pick out, like roughly get my shadow off. Let's see. That's right about there. Don't want it to be centered, but we want it to be just in a nice little spot. Let's check this with our trusty brush. Line it up with the bottom of the canvas. And my line is going to the bottom of my thumb. And we'll do an exchange over to this guy. So I went a little high over here. I'm just going to wipe it off. Because you can do that. Nice. And then we'll just use one of the 2-inch brushes to soften it out. And we want it to be just below that. Now we'll double check one more time. And we'll just use my fingernail. Yep. Okay. Now, I generally will aim a little low so that I don't go over, but let's make a straight line across. And if you want to use tape to make a straight line, you should. I really like my paintings to be super organic. I am doing them for the first time with you guys on camera, and I don't always, I mean, like very rarely do I repaint a painting. There's only a few scenes that I've gone back and tried to repaint exactly, I suppose, and then anytime I do try and do that, it does not go as I hope. So I just kind of wanted to show you how we take a little bit of an idea like this sketch that I have here and just turn it into a painting by picking out your colors, working from dark to light, using the depth, highlights and shadows, and just using some really basic elements to create a painting. So I looked at some photos online and tried to get some ideas of like the plants that are going to be there, and then here we are. So we're going for it. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to distribute this paint because I don't want it all right on the top. So I'm just going to pull it down, and you could probably pick up a bigger brush at this point, but I'm just going to work with this one for a moment. And I'm going to get all the paint out so I don't waste it. Okay, and I'm just working a little bit of this color onto the edge of my canvas. I don't usually paint the edges of my canvases, but I had a few requests to do that for some of my commission pieces recently, so I thought I would just put in some effort and have some of them that are, and see how much extra effort it takes and how I like the look, because I pull them out of the easel pretty quickly given how many paintings I paint, and I tend to get fingerprints all over them, so I'm practicing and we'll see if I can get better at it. Okay, I'm going to pick up just the bigger brush. Let's do, I'm thinking, I'm using a round sable brush. I really like this brush style. It's nice and soft. Works really, really well for distributing paint pretty evenly. And it's just a really soft brush. There's lots of bristles, so I really like it. Use it if you want. Don't use it if you don't want. You can use a 1-inch brush if you'd like. But I really want to just work on getting this top area a little bit darker. Look at that focus. Oh, I stopped focusing. Nice job. I had to say something. Okay, I want a little bit more phthalo green in this. Just a touch. That was too much. Maybe some less. Okay. I don't know if you can see that, but you can play with these colors and really you'll start to get to know the way that they're going to mix together. For instance, the way that the Phthalo Green and Alizarin Crimson, they make a really beautiful gray, and it works really well on seascapes and water. Because using the Phthalo Green, it is very bright. It's a really bright kind of a turquoise. So you have a lot of range when you use it, but I definitely like to dull it down a lot with the crimson. and you'll just find different ways to do that to your liking, but I definitely like the way that those combine. And then combining it with the Phthalo Blue just makes it such a pretty, dark, rich blue-green that I think is very, very pretty. And it's pretty much what we're going for here for this painting, so it works out. Okay, we're getting a little bit more Phthalo Green now. I want some titanium white. We're now lightening this up a little bit. Too much Phthalo Green back into our gray. A little, there we go. And let's just apply some of this in here. Looks like I didn't get enough liquid white in this area. I'm having a little trouble distributing the paint, and that's what you'll notice if you went too thin. That's what I did there. Having some difficulty, but you can just scrub it in. You really want to make sure that we're getting all of the pores of the canvas full of these paints. These are kind of our conditioning the canvas, so to speak. So these are like the undertones. These are the colors that you really want to have, so that the rest of the colors, when we put them on top, they show and our highlights show up, and it just looks really pretty. So they help to have this all nice and filled in here with some color of some kind. So right now we're using these ocean colors. I want a little bit more blue, a little more titanium white. I'm trying to lighten it as it gets closer to the shore. And they have just a really pretty blue-green water. So I'm trying to capture that. It's really dark out here where it's deeper, but as we're getting closer in, it's going to get lighter. So we're adding the titanium white into our color and trying to allow it to blend. Kind of hard, but we're doing it. I want to do some little light areas, kind of like these clouds are reflecting into the ocean. So this area I want to be nice and bright. So we'll just scrub in some titanium white just with whatever you have. Try and get some of that to come off there. And then we'll continue to blend over here. We're going to have something else going on, so we can leave that. And let's bring in some of this color. I think we'll bring this down just like this. Something like that. Go all the way across. Let's just blend her out. Careful once you get up here not to mess it up. Long, flat strokes. Let's fill in a little bit of color here. And we're going to have a nice light area right in here. So we'll just scrub the rest of this paint in there. Any which way. Let's bring these colors together. Flat. No. Okay, let's bring this back. If you were using some tape to get this horizon line going, it definitely helps to use some of the liquid white when you're filling in this particular section, because you will have removed tape and not have anything on this particular surface. So you'll want to maybe apply a little bit of the liquid white to your paints just to soften them out. so that it'll apply a little smoother. Maybe it'll work out just fine for you. I don't know. I'm going to just add in kind of a few little elements of surprise, kind of details that aren't details. Just some distant little things. And then we soften them back out. I like that. I'm gonna grab a sip of water. All right, I'm using a new sable brush. This one is just a square, basically a flat edge sable brush. And I'm gonna go back and forth on the horizon very, very, very carefully. We don't want to mix the paint, we just want to soften the lines. So you will keep the light part up at the top as to not mess up too badly the horizon, but we want to soften it out just a touch. Okay, and before we get too crazy there, we can just use this brush to kind of move a few of those colors. Now we have a few like clouds out there, so we'll just take care of those. There, perfect. There's no such thing, but we did it. Okay, we're gonna mix up. If you want to do more, do, but I really want just a nice, simple beach scene. So we're doing that. I'm picking up a little bit of Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo Green, Phthalo Blue. Let's grab some Midnight Black and a touch of Titanium White. I'm actually going to go for more of like a lavender color here. A little more crimson, a little more Midnight Black. Nice dark lavender, a little more Midnight Black. And we're going to put out a little, let's see, according to my little sketch, a small rocky bit way out here. We'll just put in this dark lavender mixture. I'm using a sable brush. It's a really soft brush, works really well. I'm going to use it a few more times today. And we'll just plan this out. This guy is going to come around, and then we're going to have a nice beach outlet here and a little bit of a hill coming out over in this area. So this, we have some land that goes back into this area, another shore way out here, and another kind of a little mound. Let's put that guy in too. Gonna just spread them out. And we'll put a few little pieces out here to kind of hold our place. So there are gonna be some dark shadow areas. And let's flatten this one out too. Give this some shape. We're just picking out some shapes of this mountain out here to kind of sink it down into the ground, right? So it's going to come down and flatten itself out. So we want to give some of those shapes so we can lay out our land, give us a good idea of what we're working with. I want to keep this one nice and dark out in the distance. We're going to add a little bit more. Just right out on the, kind of goes out. Let's add some dark right in this area for kind of our reflected, almost bit of the rock kind of coming in over here, and just a touch over here as well. We'll do something just like that-ish, like it. Now, I'm going to pick up my palette knife because I like my palette knife and I like painting with the palette knife. Let's make a little bit of a highlight for this rock out here. I'm going to pick up just some of that same color we were using and add it into some of our whites. Let's pick up a little bit more titanium white. And we'll just see, this kind of looks, we'll add a little bit of bright red and warm it up some, just a touch. That was far more than I thought, but that's okay. Over here, we'll mix up a little bit of a shadow mixture. Some blues, very nice. And we're just gonna grab just a tiny little bit of this paint. These are really far away, so we don't want a ton of detail on it. And we'll just take a little bit of this highlight mixture and pull some highlights out onto the front areas and the tops, kind of these left sides of the mountain. Maybe it comes up over something like that. And we'll do the same thing all the way out on this one. Just something nice and simple. I do have a little bit more pressure on the knife just because I want this to really soften into the canvas. I'm going to pick up some of my dark mixture, adding some midnight black to that. We have this as our shadow mixture. Just pulling small little bits of shadows. Get this bit here. And we'll shadow this side as well. All right, I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow ochre, go right into, well, that one turned green. I must have had too much blue in it, so we want some white and yellow ochre. I'm going for a nice sunshine color. Cut off a little roll of that and just splash on a little bit of sunshine. Just a touch over here. I really like using multiple highlight colors just to add a little bit of dimension. It's pretty simple. You don't have to work too hard for it. And you can do the same with the shadows as well. I'm not going to today. I'm just pulling some of the highlights into the shadows to kind of get the same effect. Now, picking up my 2-inch brush, and I want to soften this a whole bunch. Take the bottom, and we'll just tap, pull that down, and go across. Over here, tap out the base, lift it up. And out in this area, we're going to put some sand. So I'm going to pick up the sable brush that we used to put all this dark mixture, pick up some midnight black, phthalo blue, Dyke Brown, and dark sienna. titanium white. Let's get some more titanium white and some yellow ochre. Now I just want to kind of mix in a few bits of this color to act as kind of glue for the sand color that we're going to put out here. I need some more red in this. It's a little too green. This is a desert after all. And I'm just using this sable brush because it's so soft and it just allows this thick paint to grab onto the other thick paint. It works really, really well for that. A little bit more of our darker colors and shadow colors. We want this really dark down here. And then we'll just soften some of these together. All right, now that we've got that nice and prepped over here, I'm going to pick up my palette knife, pick up some yellow ochre and dark sienna, some bright red. Let's clean off a little spot here so we can, different knife that has something on it. We'll just scrape off this paint here. Okay, now we mixed some yellow ochre, bright red, and Dyke Brown, dark sienna, and now some titanium white. I want some more dark sienna in here, and then we'll grab a little bit more titanium white, just to marble those colors together on the knife. And then we will use this kind of sand mixture and we'll just pull it across and allow those paints to marble themselves. And this just gives you all kinds of fun different levels of sand. And bring some more titanium white over here. It's really far, far away. Just mixing and allowing the paint to just pull off, and just filling this kind of whole area back here with this different sandy colors. Just pick up a little bit more yellow ochre. Some Dyke Brown now. I want it to be a bit darker as we're moving closer. And just kind of get these colors. Moving around, creating their own little highlights and shadows, and just playing. Just like that. Now let's pick up the sable brush we used to put in the mountain. I want to make just kind of a purpley lavender color. Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo Blue, and Midnight Black. And we're just going to pop in kind of this little row of kind of bushy things out here. They're just hiding. Can't quite figure out what they are, but they're there. We'll just clean out the bottom of those with some of our brown, and we're in business. Okay, we're going to use the sable brush we used to blend the sky, and now I'm just going to bring some of this brown color of our sand into the water. So we're just grabbing some of it with the sable brush and just bringing a touch of that into this water, just to add some harmony. To that, I want to add some more phthalo green, titanium white, just some fun varieties of color. We'll just soften all the rest of this out with this dirty brush. I still have this other dirty brush. I want to bring just a little more dark down, just like that. And we have it, a different mood there. Nice. Back to my softer blending one, cleaner brush. And just soften that right out. All right, let's get into, let's do a little shoreline out here. Dyke Brown, dark sienna, bright red, pretty dark color, but I don't want it too dark, so we'll just grab some of this color and then grab a little bit of our titanium white. A little too red. Let's try that. And we're going to put in the shoreline all the way across. I think I need some more Dyke Brown. This is just too red. I don't like. I'm just using the palette knife to apply a nice dark color here, right at the base of kind of where the sand is going to meet the water. I want this area to be nice and dark for us. And we just kind of apply it nice and dark on the edge, and you can pull it back and soften it back. Let's highlight that. Some yellow ochre and titanium white. And we'll just pull it across the top. Okay. Now I want to work in a little bit of some water details. Right around these edges, we're going to have kind of some waves and water sort of coming through. So we'll put in, I just have some white left over on my fan brush. Let's get some more. Bring that around. And we'll do one more, just like that. Okay, clean off the fan brush, set that aside. We're just going to pull this straight back. just like that. Now I'm going to pick up the sable brush, go into some of my lavender colors. You can put a few, just some kind of water details. Just want to get a little bit of movement happening, but not too much. Just want to give an idea. Let's take this shoreline, give it a little pull down. Wipe that off, I picked up a lot of paint. And we'll go all the way across. Right. I'm gonna go grab a little snack and I'll be right back. Hello, I'm back from my snack. Let's get painting. Okay, we have our shore area kind of established here. It's a rocky shore, so we're just gonna put in some of the water with the knife in a little bit here. So just to prepare it, we want to build into it and then be dragging our paint away. So we just want to make sure we do it in the right way. So we're gonna do this closest one first, and then we'll kind of work out from it. So let's start with some titanium white, which I need more of. Oh, quite a hand workout to get this. This titanium white is really thick mixture, which is what we want for painting mountains, but is pretty challenging to get out of the tube. So I'm just picking up some titanium white, and I'm going to plop it out over here. I want to make like a blue mixture, and we're going to thin it down with some liquid white. So first, let's make a medium texture, kind of off-white color. We're just picking up and flipping over the liquid white and titanium white that we have kind of globbed and mixed together here. So we just want to incorporate it all together and make this medium white texture. Then we can work with it a little bit more later. Okay, now we have like a medium white mixture here. We'll grab off some of this. I want the watercolor to be kind of a blue mixture given. So we'll start with this. Let's go a little bit touch darker and leave it a little bit marbled. We'll go in and get a little roll. Actually, let's wipe off the knife, kind of tidy up here. Let's grab off that roll of paint now, and we're gonna work backwards. We'll see how it works. So this would be like if you're left-handed, you would maybe start over here and work out to get the paint to run off of your knife the right way. But honestly, this is just going to be a fun challenge for all of us. So I'm just pulling the paint and allowing that bead to come off of the back side. Maybe we'll get the knife all dirty on both sides. Then we can push up a little bit and then drag some out. So double loading the knife, pushing up and pulling down. We're getting a lot of foamy paint, foamy water effect. We're just trying out and seeing what works. In this area, the water is going to be pulling back. Let's see if we can tidy this up here. I'm just going to fix a couple areas here that I want to just kind of get the water running up in the right way. And now let's get a sable brush. This is one of my my slightly larger sable brushes that I was using today, and I just want to pull this paint backwards. Oop. It's supposed to be flat, as flat as you can get it. Okay, now back with the medium white texture, let's tidy up some of these edges. And this is just a really far away shore, so we really don't need a lot of detail. This is super far away. So we'll just get a little bit more kind of back in this area. And now we will do another just a few more ideas. Now flat out this way. Just some water lines. And we'll just cut in a couple more up top. Let's grab the flat sable brush and pull back some of these. Make sure you're going as flat as you can keep it. If you want to use a bigger brush, you can. This just really helps us get into some of the detail areas. And let's fix this up there. There we go. Now we've got some waves kind of moving. You can tell they're coming into this little cove and kind of receding back. So we'll just kind of get some of these areas to soften a little bit more. And it's just nice and, rocky over in this area. So there's going to be some nice dark areas where the rocks are underneath the water still, just kind of crashing onto the shore. So we'll just add a few of those in here and there, just to break it up a little bit. Now we have this big feature point. There is a nice big rock that I thought would look really cool. Let's grab some midnight black. Phthalo Blue, Phthalo Green, Dyke Brown, Dark Sienna, Alizarin Crimson. All of the dark colors, but lots of browns. Okay, now we have a nice big mixture of dark color. And now this is all of the background that we just worked on. So it's back. And we're going to work on our foreground now, which is the desert that meets at the ocean. we've got this big hill that's going to come down. I'm going to pick up my other knife. And we are standing on a deserty bit, looking down to where the ocean is meeting this desert. So maybe in some ways we might feel a little relieved to not be in the desert anymore, but also you can't really drink salt water. So you've got some work to do if you made it this far and that was what you were hoping for. So let's get this all down, applied in here. We want this nice and dark. So all the dark, just kind of smush it into the canvas. We do have kind of a, a general shape, which is like kind of steep. So let's try and keep with, to keep it somewhat real to the area where it has these big, steep kind of cliffs down as you are getting close to the water. That'd be scary, getting down there and then realizing that you didn't want to be down there. For some reason, having to get back up some of these big old hills would be probably pretty hard. I'm just going to keep working on trying to do some of my edges today. We're always practicing something. So today that's what I'm practicing. See if I like it. We'll see how it dries. And I just want all of this to be dark. So, putting it all in here. We'll get a little bit of texture. Okay, so we're going to work on this back area first. Let's just kind of even this out by using the 2-inch brush and tapping at the base. This is just going to give us a little bit of texture, help distribute that paint. And I really want this to be nice and sandy, so it's going to give us a nice little sandy look when the paint comes and we layer it on top. So nice little tap on all of that, and then we'll pick up a knife, trying to decide which knife to use. This one is not my normal knife, but it seems to work a little bit better with this canvas and easel combination when I'm doing it like this, but I just got uncomfortable, so I don't want to. Okay, so I had so much blue. This will be our shadow color on the mountain that we're kind of doing up here. Mountain, it's a hill, a sandy hill. So I picked up some dark sienna and some yellow ochre and then titanium white. We'll just mix that on the brush or on the palette with the knife. I don't know what's going on with my words today, but it could have been that my snack wasn't as big as I wanted it to be. But it's almost dinner time, so I'm trying to get done so that I can have some dinner, which I have to cook. I like to cook a lot. Maybe someday in the future I'll have a cooking channel. That would be super fun. I cook like at least 2 meals a day at home. I also work from home, which involves painting, editing videos, painting, editing more videos. So thanks a lot for all of you for supporting me through all of that, which I'm really grateful for. It's been such a fun, very, very challenging adventure to be on. and very rewarding. So I'm really glad that you all are here supporting me, and I hope that I can help support you in teaching you a few ways to get some effects that you want and just learn how to have fun on the canvas and not feel too pressured to, you know, make an epic painting every single time and have it be so perfect and amazing. Just try to have fun, and while you do that, you're probably going to make a pretty good painting. So I'm just working on getting the shape of this kind of hill. I want it to kind of get, you know, flared out at the bottom here. I gave in and I'm using this other knife, and so I don't like it, and it's really hard for me to use. But we're just gonna practice using new techniques and practicing things together. I'm just gonna get rid of some of this paint since we're gonna want some of it over here. It's not quite all in like highlight areas, but we want to just kind of pick out some areas out here. It's nice and sandy and rocky, so we'll just kind of poke in a few little ideas. I actually want to soften this and make it look more like sand, so I'm just really, really lightly going down that with the 2-inch brush. Let's do some shadowy colors. I want a little bit more kind of almost lavendery. Let's do this. Cut off some of that paint, and then we're just going to work in some of these grays in the kind of shadow area. And I get that going this way. Man, this is tough with this knife. I really hope I get the hang of it, but it does look different. Like, as you stand back, make sure we do that. Okay, let's try some more of this. I just wiped off this brush, and then I'm double loading it, and I'm going to pull it flat across down here. And some of our, get some like shadow colors underneath these sand. These are a little bit further away, and then we're going to do one more kind of closer bit here. Well, let's put this on. I'm gonna grab my other paint everywhere. Okay, my other palette knife. I'm going back into this highlight mixture. I just added a little bit more titanium white, and let's do some yellow ochre. Maybe just a touch of bright red. Nice and sand color. And let's put in just a little bit more kind of in a few areas, some sand. This is just having such a hard time when I get down into this lower area. So back to the other knife. Okay, I like that a lot. I'm going to work on this last little feature. It's kind of this last little bar out in the very front where we are going to have some really cool, pokey little plants, some cactus. So I mixed up kind of a nice bright yellowy, sandy mixture. That's just going to be kind of weird. I want some sienna to that. Maybe. We'll try that. I'm going to put a little, let's see. I gotta be really brave here because this is the big part. Let's do it like this. All the way up top and down. Then this like that. Okay, and we'll come back and highlight this more. We can add some titanium white, but now we're picking up some of our dirty mixture, so let's just wipe that off. Clean up my mess so that I can start a new mess, which is the process. Okay. We're gonna do some fun little plants. I'm gonna pick up the fan brush and go into some browns, blue, black, mostly browns though. Nice and dark color. And we're gonna have kind of like a bush, just like a spiny bush. Not necessarily cactus, but probably cactus. It probably has lots of thorns on it. We'll just do a few of those out there. And then there's going to be some more rocks in here. I think I'm just going to wiggle the fan brush into a nice fine point and kind of tap in a little cactus looking thing, and then we'll fill it in a little bit and make them look better. The weather was kind of being all funny today. It was supposed to rain like all day, and then it just kept looking like it wasn't going to, but I think it just started raining. I'm kind of excited. It's been chilly, so it's kind of nice to at least have a reason for it. I know we are basically getting toward, the colder time of year. I live in Utah, so it snows, and I live where it snows a lot. So it gets pretty cold. And I was a little bummed to be dressing so warm to be coming into my studio so early, but I don't have any heat on today because I didn't want to be that much of a wimp, so I didn't turn it on. But I'm thinking about getting myself a heated vest because I think that'll be pretty nice. Like a little battery powered heated vest. That sounds awesome. And warm. Anyway, I'm just kind of very lightly making this look like a little bit more defined in some areas. Then I'm gonna just take the fan brush and pull out like just a few tiny little spines. Just here and there. That's it. No more. Okay. Next, we're going to put in this big spiny thing. I grew up in southern Arizona where there's lots of different types of cacti. Plenty of different varieties, and this one really reminds me of like an organ pipe. I don't know if that's what actually grows out here in this desert, in the Atacama desert, but that's what it looks like to me. So we're just going to paint in some background. These are the furthest away. This is real nice and tall and proud little cactus, and he's got all these really skinny arms coming off of him. I'm just using my really dark paints. It's about the distance of a fan brush too wide, kinda. Just really skinny, really straight, and they just grow straight up. We'll do one here. light just goes up to about there. Let's do one that comes in there. And then we'll be able to highlight a few of these in the front, and it'll really pop. So we'll just do a few more of these for the background bit. I'll bring this all the way down. A little bit more dark mixture. And I think we'll have another one kind of right over here. And maybe we'll just do the ones in front now. So let's do some Midnight Black, Prussian Blue, Dyke Brown. And I want to just pick out a few and make them a little bit darker here in the foreground. See how this is darker and it stands out in front of the one behind it? That's what we want. Just somewhere down to there. And I think we'll need one here, maybe just very slightly overlapping, but enough. We want to be able to see a variety of these different layers, so we're just trying to put them in. Something like that. Darker at the bottom always. Just like that. I think it needs just a tiny bit more character, because I just can't believe that they would like all be perfectly straight. So I'm gonna do one like slightly not straight, which is still hard. We'll do one out here like that. I know it's weird because you want to make them so straight, but then when you go back and look at it in a week, you'll be like, man, none of them are straight. But anyway, like do a few and you can stop if you want, or keep going. But I like to get a little bit of variety in there and get all of the darks kind of going and working for you. And then we can come back in and do some light. I'm just cleaning up the base. It's gonna be kind of like sandy, all of this beach coming in and just blows all the sand at the base of these. I want to put some highlights on these, kind of organ cactus. We'll just call them that because they look like an organ pipe, but I don't actually know which ones these are. So I'll look it up and maybe try and remember to put it in the comments below or in the description. We'll see if I remember. I just made kind of like a yellow-green color. This whole thing is going to be mostly brown, but the highlight sunshine is coming in from the left, so we'll just kind of draw a few little ideas in these back ones of some little grooves. For most cactus like this, when it rains, they'll expand and they soak up moisture through these tall pipes, these stacks. I grew up with saguaro and organ pipe cactus and a bunch of other types of barrel cactus, so I can't quite remember all of the classifications, but maybe somebody in the comments will help. I know a few people who will know who are in my family. Dad. We'll see if he catches that one. But that was for you. I'm just putting in a few more. Call them what you want them. Ribs, I think, would probably be the most technical term you can get to. I'm glad I thought of that. That took a while to come on that one. So we're just putting in the ribs. I'm using a greenish brownish mixture. It should really be more brown. Let's do that. Slightly, just a little bit of dark sienna in there. And I'm just pulling out a few little rib ideas on these little spiny. I'm using a little bit of my brush wash to thin this paint out because I wanted to keep it the same color. So I just dip it in the wash and just thin down the paint that's on my brush. Usually works really well, but it just doesn't last as long as paint thinner does because you pick up a lot of paint when you do that still. So just put in a few until you cannot put any more. I like sticking with my odds, so sometimes I just put 3 on all of them. So anyway, we got that in. So now we're gonna put in just a couple really dark ribs on the back because we don't want to leave that out. So get one right on the opposite side of the last highlight that you put on, just to reinforce that dark area there, and anywhere where you want to just kind of make, these front ones are already pretty dark, so that's not making too much of a difference, but we can make these ribs look even deeper there, and then darker on the back side all the way down. So we'll do the same thing here, make this rib darker. And one along the back. I'm just picking up some paint. Sometimes you have to thin it down a little bit, and I'm dipping into my brush wash. And as I'm moving this down, because this is a pretty long one here, I'm actually twirling the brush. You can see me pull it down onto my finger here, and I actually twirl it. So it's a little trick. My mom told me that I was really skilled with my hands. I was a volleyball player. I played soccer. So it was something that I've had a lot of ease with. So it might be a little bit more challenging for you, but it's actually, it took me maybe 2 or 3 tries to get it, and then I figured it out. So if you twirl it down your finger, you'll get it to twirl. And it will keep that dark, bold line on the outside there. See that? So we put this all in with just a fan brush, which is really fun. And now we have a very nice little idea of our cactus. So let's just elevate him now. And it is raining. I can hear it outside. It's so nice. Okay, yellow ochre. Let's go into this light, kind of thinned white here. I want it to be a brown, but a highlighting brown. So we're going with yellow ochre, and then we're kind of dulling it down with some Van Dyke Brown. So it's still brighter than what we have on there. Wiggle it into that paint, give it a little bit of a tap, and we'll just tap down, not all the way down. Let's do second layer. Ooh, fun. Okay, and I'm doing these on the back ones right now first. Just the highlight side. Make sure that you establish the order here of which one's in front and which one is behind. This one's just going to be kind of in the shadow, but he'll still be there. And we'll go up and get this one. I want to add a little bit more yellow, just a touch. And then I picked up a little bit of Indian yellow. I like that color. It's nice and bright. This one's nice and tall, and maybe he's just a little bit brighter. I like that. Nice. And do another bit down, and now you can still see those ribs underneath, which is just really nice. I'm going to pick out just a few areas where we can see those a little bit more again, but not all of it. We want those thorns to show through. Now let's do these ones in the front, and I think those ones we're going to have them be like just a slightly different color, not too much though. We'll pick up a little bit of liquid white because we need this to be just a little thinner than the mixture we were using. Into the yellow ochre. Very similar color. Now let's pick up some bright red. That's a pretty color. Get a good bit, and then we will wiggle. When you wiggle the brush and pull it down, it'll get the brush into a fine point. This is a super old fan brush. You can tell how old it is by how few bristles there are on the end. So that's what I'm using to put on these spines. I'm sorry I didn't really say anything earlier, but it does make a little bit of a difference. And by a little, I'm fairly certain it's kind of a lot. So find your oldest fan brush to make organ cactus. Organ pipe cactus. Not organ like in Oregon, but organ pipe cactus or barrel cactus. Man, I'm just going to bounce back and forth until I actually know. But I shan't stop now. We will paint and then we will learn. Just some highlights on there. I'm going to clean off the fan brush, and I want to go into a blue, much darker though. Let's pick up some liquid white, and then we'll just use this real dark mixture here. And I want some brown. I still want it to be brown, but like hinted with blue. So I kind of went a little overboard there. I'm just so excited it's raining and I can hear it, and you guys probably can't hear it, but it sounds really cool. So anyway, I'm happy. I'm going to put in just a few little ideas of some thorns on this shadow sides. We're touching just right on the outside of the plant, and it makes those little thorns just pop right out. There they are. A few here. Now they're right in front. Need a little bit more paint. Now we're going to do something real crazy. Get some Indian yellow, good bit of that on the brush. We're going into the liquid white, and we're just going to thin that down. And I'm going to just pop on a few bits of this, just right on some of these edges where it's just so sure to be getting a nice pop of sun. I mean, it's pretty dry out here, so they're going to be very brown, but it looks like maybe they're getting a little bit of mist and can use that somehow to grow. Okay, now I'll just highlight some of these other little bushes out here just by using these yellows and reds. I want to dull it down with some white because they're just not going to be that bright. It is the desert, let's not forget. And we'll just pop on a few and then, you know, get some highlights areas. We just want to add a little bit of color to this brown scene, this brown desert scene. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to paint a desert without it looking like a dull sandy desert. It was kind of fun, huh? I think I want to do some little rocks out here. They're really fun. So we'll get this, let's get a dark, kind of like a dark rocky mixture here, some browns, whatever. Nice dark mixture. Then we'll get some liquid white and make a light mixture. We want this to be a little bit thinner. Yellow, ochre, bright red. I ran out of my dark sienna, but that's in there too. There's our highlight color. So we'll get some dark mixture on both sides of the brush, and then we get highlight mixture on one side. And I just want to put in a few stones out here. Dark, light. This is a really fun way to do all kinds of different rocks. You can do these kinds of riverbed rocks on the edge of a stream like this. You can use the filbert brush if you want to. It works pretty well. And it gets a little bit more, you'll get a little bit more detail of like lines on the rock. I really like using the sable brush, as I've already said like however many times today. It's a really very versatile brush, and it's reliable and consistent for me. So that's the only reason why I'm using it today. I thought it would be fun to show you a different tool used in a different way. And then you get to decide how you want to paint by trying a few different ways. So let's remember our sun is coming in from this side, so we're going to have some shadow here. So we don't want to do too many rocks behind there, but I'm going to throw in just a couple. Some more down here. Just want them to be nice and, I guess, cute. I don't know. Just I like these kind of little stones and rocks, and a nice way to get a bunch of rocks kind of layered in and just be really deliberate about where they go. Plus, look, they really are cute. Let's just put a few more over there and a big one there. Okay. Now, we're going to put a little bit of shadow over here from our bush. And then we're just pulling, I put some thick paint on the brush, the sable brush, and I'm just pulling flat. The paints are just kind of blending together. This whole area, we want this to be nice and dark down here. Ooh, the rain. Yay! Let's do, I need some titanium white. I ran out of that again. Gotta get strong with it. Smarter. Work smarter, not harder. That's what that was. I'm mixing up a little bit of a highlight color, but that's actually not what I wanted. I wanted a shadow color. So some blues, titanium white. It's nice and thick. And we'll just put some sand. Just pull it out. Just let it happen. Let's do some over here too. If you're still watching, thank you so much for being here. Please, please subscribe to my channel. All of the subscriptions and views, I know the commercials really suck, but those really, really help me and keep me painting for you. I am offering a live premiere now, so we can watch this together, which is kind of weird now because I am watching this for the first time at least once. So hi, future me. But anyway, back to this. The live premiere, when we watch that together, you only watch one commercial, and if you leave and come back, you might have to watch another commercial, but it's kind of a nice way to see the whole painting process and just get an idea of what it is that we're going to be painting. That way you can pin it for later, and then you can go back and paint it later. So anyway, I hope that you all really enjoy all the different varieties of paintings that I'm doing, because I like to paint places that I want to go, and it's been a little bit harder to travel lately just because everything is so expensive. And this is, you know, how I started painting, was painting places that I wanted to go and couldn't, and that's still how I paint. So I'm really grateful to have all of you here with me, just enjoying my work and learning from me and sharing your photos and your stories. I just love all of that. So thank you so much, all of you, for being here with me. I really, really appreciate it. Please, if you haven't, subscribe to my channel so that you can help support me and keep me painting. Thank you, thank you. I'm just putting in some extra little pops here of color. And I think we're just gonna finish this thing up here real quick like. I ended up having quite a lot more color in here than we probably should have. It's really like yellow and reds, but I really like it. So please excuse me for making this desert far too colorful than it probably ever had any credit to be, but wouldn't you just love to be in this desert? It looks kind of nice. I'm feeling really outnumbered here with the kind of bushes. I just want to put one more in. So let's do it. I'm going to clean off my fan brush, and we'll just put in some dark, whatever you can gather up. I had a bunch of light on here, so I had to get rid of all of that. But we'll just, we just have like, you know, evens and odds here, and together we're an odd number, and I'm partial to that. So let's do even. Now we're odd. That's better. I like my odds. Always. Okay. Now we have another bush here, something like that. I need to ditch that because I just made such a mess. I was really actually having a hard time deciding what to paint today. Today's Monday. We all are watching it on Tuesday, or maybe years from now. It's kind of weird to think about that. But whenever you're watching this, wherever you're watching this, I had a really, really, really hard time trying to decide what to paint today. And I was tossing through a few ideas, and it was really hard. So I finally decided on this. My boyfriend helped me. He helps me decide a lot of different paintings and is just like super motivating when it comes to that. So I'm really grateful to be able to have somebody like that I can go to. And he helps pick out so many really cool ideas, photos to help inspire me for paintings. I don't know, he just has the perfect eye for it, and he picks out some really great scenes. So you can all thank him for inspiring me to paint this scene. And it is also featured in a really cool show that I like to watch about cars. They went on a big fun tour and featured a little area of the Atacama Desert, and it just looks super brutal, so I thought we'd just paint it and make it look beautiful today. So yeah, thank you so much. Now I'm just blabbering. It's kind of late here for me. I'm not normally painting this late in the day, but like I said, I had a hard time. I couldn't decide. So here we are. We're here painting. The sun is down. It is dark. It's getting cold, and I'm ready to be done. I'm just getting like a thin, I really want this to be have more of like a brown tone than a yellow tone. So we'll get some red in there. Touch more red. And it's nice and thin. I'm just gonna put in some little bits of some like grassy shrubs or something, like just, they're haggard, but they're here. They're trying to grow. It just kind of adds some fun colors. And they're there. They're there. I believe it. There we go. Okay. I like it. This was fun. I think we should put some birds. I have my script liner into my brush wash, and I just thinned out whatever color I have on there. It's kind of like a dark blue, gray looks like. We're going with it, and I feel like should be a bird here. Somebody commented when I was talking about birds somewhere. I don't remember. It might have been on the live premiere last week, but who knows? Was talking about birds, and someone said, oh, putting in a big M. That is pretty much all I do for my birds. I'm really simple. If you want to do more detail, which I'm sorry, I was making that really hard to see, but you want to start in the middle of the bird and go out. And it is kind of like an M. I do like try and get a little bit of a shape going. But now, honestly, it's like all I can think about every time I make a bird. So thank you for whoever said that. You're great. I don't necessarily like being made fun of, but I do like being heckled because it's entertaining. So thanks. Birds. I think just like the cactus, I got to do it. I got to have my odds. And we'll do one more just way the heck out here. Duh, there it is. Barely. Okay, this one is just kind of bugging me because it's so close. And we were just talking about it. Now I need to do it. Mixing up not just liquid white. This is liquid white and kind of a blue mixture. And I'm just going to get some of that excess out. And we'll use this starting sort of in the middle and just put a little bit of white right on the tip of the wing. It'll appear more when it's dry. And then little tail. And I just made it worse, so it's going to go back to this. Ah, run away. Stop touching it. Okay. I think I'm just going to be done because I had a lot of fun. And sometimes when you have a lot of fun, you get really excited and want to keep going. And in the beginning of this painting, I was trying to tell you about how it's all about biting off as much as you can chew. I know that I can finish this painting if I start it within a few hours. So we are just going to finish it. And if I don't like areas of it, or, you know, it dries and I'm like, oh man, I could have done that differently, then next time I paint it, I'll do it differently and I can paint it again. And you can learn from my mistakes and just see that this is just me painting. I love painting. I just fell into it. I've never painted before. I've been painting for 4 years, and before that I never picked up a brush besides around the house and painting walls, which I wasn't really all that great at anyway, since I made a big mess. So yeah, I want to be able to go somewhere in my mind or get an idea out of my mind and onto a canvas quickly and not spend forever on it or get it to a point where I'm not going to be able to finish it. I just want to really enjoy the process of finishing something. So there we go. We just finished it. And crazy enough, now that I just signed it, and I almost never do anything after I signed it, I see something that I really want to just fix. So I'm going to take, which you can do because you are the boss. And this is your world. I'm just softening out this kind of weird bit that I saw back here. This is really far away, so. Good enough. All right, we just did tutorial number 21. This is the Atacama Desert. Some pokey things. That would probably hurt. That would probably hurt. Really hot and dry, but still a beautiful little painting. I had a lot of fun. Was feeling really discouraged in the beginning because I just wasn't sure what I wanted to paint, and found this scene. Turns out it's pretty awesome and I really like it. So thank you all so much for joining me here today for this very raw and super uncut version of oil painting tutorials with Kaylee. We are here, we just painted the Atacama Desert in one single sitting. Let me look at the time. My camera says that it's been recording for 2 hours and 10 minutes. So that includes a couple breaks, but I'm going to try and leave a few notes for you so that you can tell when I'm taking my breaks and just see how, you know, this is all completed in one sitting from a completely dry canvas to a completely wet and finished piece. Now I'm going to put it on a shelf and let it dry for a couple weeks, and then I'll put it in on my wall and admire it. And if you'd like to buy this, it'll be available on my website in about 2 weeks. You'll be able to buy it. I won't be able to ship it for about 3 weeks, but anyway, thank you so much for being here and painting with me or watching me paint. I really appreciate all of you cheering me on from all over the world. I don't know what I'm saying anymore because I'm tired and I'm hungry. So I hope that I got something good to work with there. Yeah, I'm a little beat. This was a late painting today. So anyway, I'm gonna start cleaning up. I'm gonna take my mic off and let you watch a sped up version of me cleaning up while I put some credits and some thank yous in my video. I do really want to thank a couple people. I've been getting some donations on my PayPal. Ed, thank you so much. And Brian, as always, I really appreciate both of you who've been donating for me to keep painting and to continue bringing you some fun painting ideas. I'm still working on something else, one more day for posting on YouTube. Just a fun, different how-tos and just something fun. So I've got a few ideas. Stay tuned, subscribe, hit the bell, make sure that you're always going to be notified every time that I post a new video. Thank you so much for being here with me. Smile and be happy, friends.